Inner Circle podcast as I sage away the ghosts and the ghouls and the bad spirits. Welcome to another show, y'all. We are well into spooky season and second show of this month. It's October. How are you, girlfriend?
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome, people. How's it going?
It's good. This week has drained me. I've tried to sleep. I've tried to get energy, and it's not giving. It's been a lot. How
I
are
told you
you?
this week it was gonna feel heavy, and
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of people are looking forward to this weekend for the weekend to come, me
Yeah,
included. I feel the same way. I feel like there's a lot going on this week. It's just such a busy week period, but I'm good. I don't know, like you, I don't know how to explain it. Like lately, I've been wanting. Usually during the summer, I'm up by 7. Now I'm like trying
yeah.
to stay in bed longer. Like
Me
when it's
too.
like, oh, it's time to wake up. I don't want to wake up, but like literally, you have to wake up, responsibilities, and do things. So
I've been hitting snooze so much, like it's crazy. But you know what's? I think with the weather change, I think it's actually making it more. It's making me a little bit more lazier in the sense of wanting to lay down and not be up as early as before. But how was your weekend? I don't think I did anything this weekend. I don't even remember.
this weekend was good. Friday was I worked. I got out of work and spontaneous. I was just to stay out, but my boy was like, "Oh, let's go out." So we went on Friday night. Spontaneous. But Saturday was chill because it rained again. It's that season where it's like raining every fucking weekend. So I stayed in on Friday, but on Saturday, but then Sunday I went to Six Flags. It's fall season, and unfortunately in New York, it's not like New England or other places, I'm sure that like when fall comes, like they have all these fally things to do, and they have so many trees and such that they get to do all that apple picking. I feel like we don't have nothing close to that in this city. Like we don't get to do all
Yeah,
those unless we drive to Jersey or something or upstate New York. And again, that takes driving. We're city people.
yeah.
But so it was cool to go to Six Flags. We went to Jersey and did the Fright Fest. Um, but I tell you, there's something that changes in you as you get older. When you're kids, like kids are fearless when it comes to rides and wanting to do these rides and just excited about these rides. I was like that, and just looking at the kids' faces and them just like eager to get on these crazy ass rides. As you get older, my anxiety and my nervousness has gone up. Like, oh my god, what about if this car stops all the way at the tip? Oh my god, what about if it stops upside down? Oh my god, what about if the seatbelt just opens and like all these crazy thoughts like
Yeah. Uh,
oh,
As I've gotten older, I've been I'm good off of roller coasters and carnival rides and shit like that. I'm not interested in that. I forgot to tell you what happened last night at the work event that I went to. Um, so that's part of the reason why I'm so exhausted. I feel is because I've been working long hours, but also I've been gearing for this event that finally happened last night. I told you it was like the fashion week for hospitality. Um, while in the middle of the event, I don't want to expose them, but someone who was kind of older, they passed out. He literally yeah, he was he didn't feel good. I guess I don't know if he overheated, his sugar was low. I don't know, but basically he ended up passing out. We had to call the paramedics, stop the whole event, and make sure that he was okay. But he cleared out the room because after that everyone was leaving, which
mhm.
is kind of a good thing because I wanted the event to be over. But I just felt bad that that happened. He was so embarrassed. I'm like, who cares? One
Oh.
thing that I did notice that was kind of annoying to me, and I don't know if it's people are not from New York and they do this, but when not tragedy, but when something happens like that where a person gets sick, people just stand by and just watch them and looking at a fucking car accident. They don't actually
Yeah.
become proactive and do things. It was a lot. I had to tell people to move, give him space for air. But anyway, he's fine. That was just
Thank goodness.
that was a showstopper for sure.
Show stopping. He show stopping. But also, really quick, because I don't want to forget,
Mhm.
tune in. We have an after show where I have a special announcement that means a lot, that's been in the making for a while, and I'm nervous, and I'm finally going to talk about it and put myself out there. So tune in exclusively only on YouTube. Right after this episode, tune in for that announcement. But this weekend, it's funny enough because there's some things that like sometimes I want to reach out to you now, and like we do this a lot as best friends. We talk about things, but then there's some things I'm like, you know what? I want to hit her up so bad and ask her chat about it, but I'm like, let me just wait so it could be more organic on the
Yeah.
show. But you kind of brought it up yourself. David Beckham's documentary on Netflix. That
Yeah. The
Beckham.
Beckham documentary, that's literally all I like. I binged that this weekend. It was so good. And it's not just because, oh my God, David Beckham's so fine and Posh Spice. For me, as a soccer fan, a football fan, I was like in heaven from seeing like old retired soccer
Players.
players. I was just like, oh my God. And you know what? I have like a deep sense of admiration for David Beckham. I didn't know that he went through all that shit that he went through.
Yeah,
I knew that some of
absolutely.
the coaches were assholes, but I did not know that they were in that like extreme.
It's a documentary. It's a four-parter. They're all over an hour. It opens. The first episode opens with him like getting honey, like a
Yeah, he's
beekeeper,
a
like a beekeeper with the
beekeeper.
whole thing and getting honey. He says that he like Victoria, aka Posh, loves it and stuff. I'm like, the
That's so
way they
funny.
opened it, I love the way it opened. I was like
Hmm.
enthralled and captivated and just in it from just the opening scene. And that's
Hmm.
him in a beekeeper suit, getting honey. I guess they have honey or a beekeeping little zoo in their house. I don't know, but it's just very. When you see celebs who are just people like us at the end of the day,
Yeah.
they doing things like that. It's like wow, like really, that's cool. Like I don't know why I'm so fascinated that he like on his hobby thing. I guess as a hobby is like a little beekeeper.
I always
But
felt he was more domesticated than Victoria. Like you
well, Tauruses usually are. Like Tauruses, yeah. What?
Well, from experience, but no, I feel they've had documentaries or like shows before that
Many
was based
of
on
them.
their lives. And
Yeah.
like if you notice, he was like the more domesticated one, and Victoria was the one out there with business deals and like in the fashion world. So it makes
Well, she
sense. And
changed that man too. She got that man to the metrosexual. David
yeah,
Beckham was
he
one of
did.
those celebs that when that word metrosexual started, he was one of those people at the forefront when that word started being used back in the like
Mhm.
late 90s, early 2000s when that word started being used. He was one of those faces of what a
Yeah.
metrosexual looked like. Um, and I mean, yeah, like any takeaway, like I want to ask you any takeaways that you had that you were like surprised with me. Um, like you said, I didn't know all the shit he dealt with. I didn't know he had dealt with so many asshole managers slash coaches.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that. Not one, but a few. And just his whole career, the up and down and switching and all that stuff. Like I didn't, excuse me, I didn't know it was so tense and all that drama that went behind
Mhm.
it and stuff. Then of course there was the cheating because I follow. Listen, I'm a big Spice Girls fan. The reason why I know of David Beckham, and another question for you that I want you to answer is: do you think Posh Spice?
Mhm.
Like, yes, he was a soccer player. Yes, he's talented. Yeah, he really is. He has a
Yeah.
gift. But do you think Posh put him on the map? Because I truly feel she did. I didn't know about David Beckham. Think about it US wise, not Europe. Obviously, he's big in Europe, or was, or would have been still big because he's talented. But in the US wise, I think she put him, or worldwide, she put him on the map. Um, the cheating stuff, I followed them, so I knew about this too. I'm glad that they went into it, but I don't know if you noticed, they never really he
They didn't hit
this is
it
a
home.
tourist. This is a tourist in him. He never really said it in the doc that he did it. She
Of
never
course not.
really she never really said outright also like he did it, but she said it. it was the most miserable time of my life. That time when he was in Spain, because that's when he. Do we have to say allegedly? Because like
Allegedly,
I
yeah.
mean, allegedly it happened. Allegedly, but they talked about that,
Yeah.
and I was surprised. I was waiting for it. I'm glad that they kind of made mention of it, but once again, I was sitting down like, what a tourist! What a tourist!
So
Still not outright admitting it.
so
You're admitting it, but not outright. Go ahead.
they
Sorry.
acknowledged it, but I don't think that he obviously I it's a lot. It's like an open-ended question. He didn't necessarily say that he admitted to it, but he didn't deny it either. He just expressed how painful it was for him and his family, which makes sense. I think at this point, like if you go back to the tabloids, they knew a lot of shit. A lot of stories were written. I don't care if he actually did it or not. At the end of the day, what was surprising to me, and I was like, actually, like kudos to them, is that they kind of persevered and like still to this day are together. I was actually
Yes.
having a conversation about this, and I was like, "Yo, they're like the original Jay-Z and Beyonce if you think about it." Like, I
Yeah.
don't you have to like give them credit for actually going through all that shit, and like they had Posh Spice. I remember because I'm trying to remember now if I knew David Beckham, if I have heard of him before the Spice Girls.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think so.
so.
I'm pretty sure I knew the Spice Girls first.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so I know I've always been a huge Manchester United fan, so I knew that he was in that team, and like obviously him being with Victoria, I was like, oh my god, I love him. Even though I didn't really think he was the hottest one, there were other hot players. However, um, she did put him on the map. She basically groomed him to like
She
with
groomed
his
him
style
to
because
look really good.
yeah, but as far as the cheating allegations and stuff, I think it was okay the way that they ended things because I feel like they wanted to acknowledge it and just put like close that chapter
Mm.
and basically say like how much that like hurt them. Yo, the tabloids back in the day were fucking horrible, especially
European
in the UK.
tabloids in UK,
They live to ruin people's lives. Look at fucking Harry and Meghan or whatever, how they're hiding out.
Princess Diana.
Yeah, and
Look
Princess
how that
Diana too.
ended.
So I love the documentary. I love the fact that, first of all, side note, the director and like the producer of the documentary was one of the not characters, one of the actors of Succession. So that was like, oh, that's so cool. But I thought that the documentary was great, and
Yeah, it was really good.
it showed him in a light where they didn't just focus solely on him being the husband of Victoria Beckham or Victoria
Hmm.
Adams.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it, and I
I,
love the fact. I love that his other players, like the other teammates and stuff. They always
from
said good
all his
things about
different teams. I mean, mind you, he was in different teams throughout the
him.
year. So yeah, that was amazing. Honestly, when I heard about the documentary, I only thought, okay, him is about David Beckham. But all in all, I feel like it was about them. Both like
Yeah.
they were in each other's life big time, especially when he started getting big. So like she was in it very heavily, and obviously as a
Well,
Spice Girls fan, I wasn't complaining.
the
But
documentary is called Beckham. It's not called
Beckham,
David Beckham.
that's what I
So
thought. So I'm like, I see what they did there with calling
yeah.
them Beckhams. But amazing. Any takeaways before we move on from this that you got that you didn't know? Like, I know you said you didn't know that he dealt with so much shit, but any other takeaways or surprises from the
You
doc?
know what's crazy? I actually did not know that he was such a good player. Like I did not know he was a
Me
great soccer player.
either. I
I
knew he was a great player, but
and it's
watching
crazy
it,
because I followed Manchester United. I followed not AC Milan, but Real Madrid. And I always was like, oh yeah, I think he's there. Obviously, he's there for looks and shit. But I remember when he became the captain of the English team for the World Cup, because I used to watch the World Cup heavy. And when that whole shit happened where he got the red card, I remember to this day, me and Lucy, my sister's obsessed with soccer.
mm,
And to this day, actually, I remember watching it, she fucking cried because I remember she was going for England. But I forgot how much like how much he has done in like the soccer teams that he was in, the soccer clubs he was in. I
Mm.
thought he was just like more so for looks and stuff, and like he was more popular in that sense. But he's actually a very good player. I give him credit.
Well, speaking of looks, one thing that I definitely noticed in the documentary, like we basically grew up. Literally, we grew up with the Beckhams. Literally. So obviously, there's things like that. It's obviously there if you're looking. I mean, we know with prospects, we know with a woman may get. We used to women getting tweaks and nips and stuff, because of
Yeah.
society. I blame society for that. But there's also those men out there that do it. And one thing that I couldn't notice is, listen, Daddy David can still get it. He's a daddy. He can still get it. But that face, honey, he's had some work
You
done.
think so?
Oh, absolutely. He's had some work. He's had
I
Botox
know he's
done,
gotten his teeth done.
allegedly. You can tell he's had Botox done, allegedly. Possibly some fillers. I'm not a professional doctor, but for sure, the Botox. And there's a lot of reports. I did my little investigating. But with that being said, is a good segue into this game that I like to call and introduce called Face Card. I'm going to pop up celebs who allegedly have had plastic surgery, some little tune-ups, whether it's the teeth, whether it's a Botox, whether it's a nose job, or maybe heavy makeup, whatever it is. And we're going to pick whether we like original or the new and improved face. So here we go.
Oh my god.
It's called Face Card. And of course, we have to kick it off with none other than, since we're speaking of, David Beckham. So here we go. Face Card. Let's do it. Do we prefer
That, I mean,
old David Beckham
oh boy.
or new David Beckham?
I mean, I still see lines in his face, so I don't think he went crazy with Botox, but I prefer new because he has lips. I don't like guys with thin lips. That's yuck.
So then you can see that he also got those allegedly injectables, possibly. So I don't know. For me, he's starting to look a little. I don't know. Maybe it's the age and then the Botox
Yeah.
and the light. I don't know, but he's starting to look like Mickey Rourke. If y'all don't know who Mickey Rourke
No,
is, Google
don't
him.
even say that. Don't even compare. Mickey
No,
Rourke
not
is
exactly like him, but I don't know that fakeness. He doesn't look exactly like Mickey Rourke, but it's starting to remind me because like that fakeness, where you can see there's some fakeness, there's some work
yeah.
there. For me, it's old Beckham. I had the biggest crush on him since I was introduced to him. Thank you, Posh Spice. For years.
I
He can
liked him
still
when
get
he
it, but
shaved
I
his
like
head.
old Beckham.
When he shaved his head, he looked
Oh, and
fun.
that was controversy too. I didn't know that part on the doc. But anyways, moving on to the next one. Face card. Janet Jackson. Allegedly. I mean, can you
fucking
not
nose.
see right here? Can you exactly? I think all of the Jackson family, majority of the Jackson family had a problem with
They
it.
all went to the same doctor, if you think about it, because they all had the same nose like after their surgery. But I think Janet looked great before. She still looks good now, but yeah.
Before or after? Which one do you pick?
I'll go
She
with
looked good before too. She looked like natural and
I'm gonna
beautiful,
go
like a
with
natural beauty.
yeah, but she still looks good now, even after
She
her
does.
surgery.
She
So I'll
does.
say now. Now.
I would say now too. She still looks great, but I will go with before just because sometimes, yeah, like people out there, women or men, like you have to realize sometimes you have a natural beauty. And at the end of the day, it's within us if we want to change things and what makes us happy. But like her
Yeah.
smile, just her smile alone, I like old Janet. So before. Next, Vivica A. Fox. Do
Ooh,
we like
child.
the old face or the
Before
new face?
old face because now she is playing too much with those
I
needles.
agree. Old face. I used to think Vivica Fox was a beautiful lady growing up. As a kid, my mom watched movies, or I seen movies that my parents watched. Waiting to Exhale. No, she wasn't. Was she in
You
Waiting
can
to
play
Exhale?
that game.
Soul Food. Two can play that game. Not Waiting to Exhale. It was Set It Off. Iconic movies when I was growing up as a adolescent into my teenage years, and I thought she was a beautiful as before. So for me, it's before. She's starting to look cat. like or whatever, she started to remind me of this next person, honey, Little Kim, before or after.
I don't
They
even
both
recognize
cancer
her.
sisters too. So I don't know if there's something with the cancers that they just like allegedly just doing things
What
to
from the
themselves. But
cancers? Oh my god. I was obviously before. I don't know. This Kim, you know what's crazy? I feel like when Little Kim first came out, so many people were so mean to her about her looks and how raunchy she was that gave her a complex. And also, I
mm,
think allegedly she was in a relationship where it was like very physical and the guy would like break her nose and shit, so she had to get surgery a lot.
mm-mm-mm. I always loved Old Kim. I think Old Kim looked good.
Mm.
I don't like the bleached allegedly and all that stuff. Old Kim for sure. Like she's another one that I'm like, why? Like I wish I could like reach to her and shake her and be like, you were so beautiful. Next, another Jackson, Michael
Mhm.
Jackson.
We already know.
Before or after? Listen, I'm gonna go with this one. Before Michael Jackson, caramel skin. Look at that smile. Also, like caramel skin with his thing. Absolutely, he could have gotten it. Once he started changing himself, no. I would, yeah. Before, same, right? You don't gotta say it. Yeah, same. Moving on. Zac Efron, face card. Before or after?
I don't know what happened to his jawline, but before he looked nice. I thought he was too pretty. Like he was such a
He
pretty boy.
I've always thought that too. But he's another one that I feel his face now is like a, and I don't want to say that they look like Mickey Rourke, but they just, when I say Mickey Rourke, it's like when you look at him as a guy, it's like you could tell it's a
Yeah.
fake face, like they've had stuff done. That's what I mean. Not necessarily that they're like to that extreme, but yeah, he's another one that's on the Mickey Rourke train wagon, and definitely
He
before for me.
definitely fucked up his nose too, but
Before for me. And then last but not least, La Cardi.
you know, I love Cardi, but I think actually she looks better now. She just needs to chill out because her face is getting very like triangular. But before, I think she was always a pretty girl. She just needed to fix her teeth and her eyebrows
Mm-hmm. It was just, yeah.
always bothered me because they were giving like boomerang. But like now she looks fine. She looks fine. She just needs to
I
chill.
choose now too. But it's funny how we're doing this game today, and before the game was already set up, a video on Instagram it popped up and said,
Yeah,
"Does it not?" You know what I'm talking about? Does it
yeah.
not age well? Of her talking about like the girls that did all this, and I'm like, I seen that today on the train. I'm like, but anyways, she does look better now. But like you said, she slow down, Carter. You look good now. Just leave it alone. Well,
Hmm.
that was a fun game to play. But let's get into Drake's new album. Drake dropped a new album
Oh boy.
this past Friday. You listen. I am a music lover. I love all types of music. My favorite genre, pop. I would say that. I have no shame. Like I know my pop stuff. I know my pop history. We could get into numbers with pop and all the things. But I love all types of music. Like I like to say with this podcast, we're a little bit about everything. When it comes to music, I love a little bit of everything. But I want you, Miss Thing, because I know you're a hip hop girl and more of a rap girl, more into it than I am. I want your take first on this new Drake album.
Unfortunately, I can't give you a take because I have been trying to not listen to it anytime soon. I feel like so many people have like posted about it, posted their opinions on it. Some people have praised it and keep playing it in their stories, and then there's other people that have posted like top 10 lyrics that are whack in Drake's album. I have not listened to it because the whole thing with him playing like having his son rapping on the album is corny to me, and I think
Really?
yes, it's corny to me. Like with this child labor, Blue Ivy dancing, not in school, and now Adonis like rapping, like please stop. As far as Drake goes, Drake has declined for me after 2016. Like the album More Life was a good album. I bumped it hard. But since then, everything that he's put out, even I tried to get into his little Afro Beats dance album and I couldn't even get into it. So I've been trying to like chill out. And even knowing that he has a song with Bad Bunny, I listened to that song actually
Just
today.
two
And
minutes.
I was like, okay, that's cute. But his verse in that album, in Drake's, I mean, in that song with Bad Bunny, I think it's called Gently or some shit like that.
Gently. Yeah.
I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this shit, this word salad that you're throwing out there? So, unfortunately, I can't give you a take. You can give me yours, but again, I didn't jump for joy and wanted to listen to this album.
For me, and I actually had this conversation. Actually, I was on Tea with Tay on Friday. Taylor, who was on our show a couple of weeks ago, and we kind of got into it a little bit. And me, because we do this, it's like a job, doing a podcast because then you also have to like kind of watch things, hear things, research things that you're not necessarily that 100% into or invested in, but because you have a platform like this, you want to like, think. So I listened to the album. Um, Listen, and I know some people may come for me being a Bad Bunny fan. Like we're gonna get into Bad Bunny, because Bad Bunny I feel pulled a Kanye on Drake. The way Kanye did on Taylor. I feel like Bad Bunny was like, I'm gonna let you have 1 week and drop your little album the week before, and I'll be out the next week. And we'll get into that. But he, like you said, he's been doing albums. He needs a break. Point blank, period, dot, seal, and send. He needs a break. He's been releasing an album every year, it feels. Last year's album, I liked. The one that he went kind of like dance or whatever. A lot of people shitted on that one. It came out around the same time that Beyonce also released her Summer Renaissance, and they both had that similar upbeat house, whatever, et cetera, et cetera.
What was it
I
called?
like the album.
Something Never Mind?
Never, you see, but that's the thing. Look, this is a perfect example. You see what you're doing? What is it called? Same thing with me. I can't even give the album's title because it's so forgettable. And this is what's wrong with music in our state of the world nowadays. It's very like ingest, spit
Well,
it out,
no,
the next
actually,
day.
my bad. He came out with Her Loss like last year. And then Honestly Nevermind came out also. Like they both came out in 2022. That's
Well, he
weird.
did this song he did an album, a joint album with 21 Savage.
Yeah.
And he released his own solo stuff. So he's been releasing a lot of, the Certified Lover Boy, like all these albums year after year. There's been a lot of controversy because a lot of people are talking about it. He's getting into beefs with Joe Budden, Charlamagne the God. A lot of people are giving their takes about the Drake album. And one good question is, does Drake even have a classic album? When I say like a classic album, I mean like, Jay-Z definitely has a classic album. Even Bad Bunny. For me, Bad Bunny has two classic albums, and he's newer. He has
Drake
Yo Hago
does
Lo Que
have
Me
a
Da La
classic
Gana.
album.
He does, and I read some comments. Yo Hago Lo Que Me Da La Gana and Un Verano Sin Ti for Bad Bunny are definitely classics. For you, what would you say is Drake's classic album?
His classic album is Take Care, but that came out in like 2011. So it's been what, 12 years since.
No, but as
Yeah.
long as you have a classic album, like period,
That
as an
that
artist.
album, I think that album was like made him put him on the map and it was like pivotal in his career. But since then, like Nothing Was the Same was a good one. It was, and if you're reading This Is Too Late, it was alright. And the one with Future, what was it? What a Time to Be Alive. Some of them were like little bops here and there. But however, I don't think Drake has put pen to paper as hard as he has 12 years ago with Take Care. Like
Mm.
that was his best, like creme de la creme. Everything else has been like probably little fucking bars and with good beats that he had in the vault. And now he's like putting it together to create an album to throw shit out there. I don't know. I just think he needs a reset. Go on vacation, go do what the fuck you do, go raise your kid, and then come back with something. Because all these every year dropping bullshit gems that you consider to be gems, it's not hitting like it used to.
Well,
And
I don't
this
know.
is coming from someone that used to listen to him back in the day. Like I loved Drake when he had mixtapes. I liked him when he was in Young Money. But now to me, even his look to me is so fucking corny. Like I don't like the little curly fro. I don't know. I don't like his vibe anymore. And I used to love him. I used to think he was fine. Now he's just a clown to me, which is sad.
Well, listen. According to him, I don't know if this is a publicity stuff or not, but according to him, he's gonna. This is after this album, he's gonna take a break because he needs to focus on his health issues and I guess stomach issues or whatever. Blah blah blah. I personally think that's also as a publicity stunt. To be honest, this whole this album's gonna be my last because then I wanna. I think that's a publicity stunt and bullshit. Um, but I'm glad you're gonna take a break, Jake. If you actually follow your words, um, the album's not total trash like some people out there are saying. Again, I'm someone who reads comments and people's statuses and all that stuff and gathers information what the people are saying. So I could speak on it here. But to me, the album's not total trash or garbage like some people are saying. But he needs a break. But with that being said, he does have a song with Bad Bunny called "Gently," a 2 minute and 14-second track. Bad Bunny made that song. I feel like Bad Bunny passed on that song, and Jay just put it on his album. But speaking of Bad Bunny is dropping an album on Friday the 13th, and I knew it when he released "Where She Goes." Um, at the end, he put Nadia Sabe. I knew I said it. When I seen that video, I'm like, he's releasing an album and it's gonna be that he's giving a clue and that's the title of his album. And
Yeah.
lo and behold, he announced, this is what I love about him because he just like he surprises these gems. It's very on brand and Pisces of him. And his album Nadie sabe lo que va a pasar mañana drops this Friday. He's another one that people could say releases an album every year. How do you feel about it? I wanted to take your take. Were you excited when you heard about it? What do you feel about Bad Bunny coming out with a new album?
I love Bad Bunny, but I'm not a blind fan. I hope that whatever he puts out is like old Bad Bunny back in the day shit, like 100%, because what was the
But
name
what
of
do
that?
you because Un Verano Sin Ti
For
you
Siempre?
loved.
I don't know. I feel like he's on the verge of like, does he need a break? Does he not? Like, I don't know. Because
I can see that.
the last Un
Un
Verano Sin
Verano Sin
Ti,
Ti.
that was fire. The year before, I
Okay.
mean, the album before that, Yo hago que me dé la gana, that
No,
was
the album
fire.
before that is El Último Tour del Mundo.
Yeah,
And that one, I will
that was
agree, that was
mediocre.
all right. Exactly. You see, it was all right. It wasn't horrible. It was all right. My
I like
personal opinion,
Listen, I love Bad Bunny, but I also think that he's one that like we'll see how this one comes out. I hope
I'm
it is,
thinking the same
in
thing.
the words of Dylan, I hope it is hot fire, because if it's not, you need to sit down with Sir Drake and like have a fucking break.
Yeah, no, I agree. 100% was his first album, a great album. After hearing his announcement, I went back and listened to all his old albums the last few days.
Yeah.
100% is a great album. It's his freshman album. It's a good freshman album. His sophomore album, Yo Hago Lo Que Me Da La Gana, that to me is a classic album. I don't care what anyone says. That's a classic album. El último tour del mundo. That for me was a filler. I agree. It wasn't
Very.
horrible. It wasn't horrible, but it was just like okay.
You have to also understand from a album standpoint and like record company standpoint, they're under these contracts where the record company will tell you you need to release something now. Grab whatever bullshit you have in the vault, throw it into it together, throw it into a little bow and tie it up and like release it. So
Mm.
it's not just them deciding unless they're independent artists, which he's not. So it's not up to him, but we'll see. Will be tentatively waiting on Friday the 13th. I ain't leaving my house actually.
I know Friday the 13th. I have to leave my house, unfortunately, but there's so much from like shows, like Goosebumps reboot to like some movies being released, like the Bad Bunny's album. I'm looking forward to this Friday.
Yeah.
And just for this week to be over.
Same.
But we'll hopefully he serves is a 23 album.
23.
22, 23 songs.
They
So
better not
hopefully
all
he
be about
serves.
Kendall Jenner.
And that's I thought the same thing. I'm like, this fucking album better not be about horses and Kendall Jenner.
Bitch,
Like,
I was listening to this fucking the lyrics of Gently, and I'm like, he's talking about her like how their sex life, and I'm thinking to myself, well, she has gotten with basketball players, so I don't know. I'll give her credit, but
no. I'll tell you this. Me being a Pisces and knowing how Pisces could be, and she's a Scorpio. I've been with a Scorpio. My first boyfriend was a Scorpio, and I've been with Scorpio. It could be fire, especially the sex wise. I'm just saying. It could be kaboom, and I think that's what's going on with them.
She's like the most basic
plus he looks like her ex-boyfriend. I'm sorry, he looks like her ex-boyfriend. Yeah. I feel like he's a rebound. I'm saying it, and I was continuing saying it. He's a rebound for her.
I just want to know how they communicate. Do they use Babbel? But anyway.
Nah, he knows it. He has some broken ass fucking English.
Yeah, he learned English during quarantine. Shout out to his ex who taught him.
But speaking of ex, should we call them exes separated? I don't know what. But Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith has a book to promote, and she was on, I believe, the Today Show. I'm not quite sure 100% what show, but she basically admitted that her and Will Smith have been separated since 2016, but she never found the right grounds or anything to actually have to get a divorce. So they've been separated, they've been living separately. What are your thoughts on this? And now it makes so much sense with this whole entanglement. And like, listen, 3 years ago, we spoke about the entanglement when it broke out here on the Inner Circle podcast, where her and August Alsina and all that stuff. Things that make you go, huh? And the more you know, it's like, oh. So with all this now said, like, what are your thoughts on this whole?
The only thing I want to say is, so you made this whole ordeal, slapping the shit out of Chris Rock, just for a woman that you're separated from? Like that was your way of wanting to get her back?
Okay, I can see that. Maybe trying to think.
You made this, you basically threw your name, dragged it under the mud for her, which is fine. At the end of the day, she's the mother of his children. They worked together for a long time. Yeah. But also, like, you guys been lying to us. Like, that's crazy to me. You were on the Red Table Talk or whatever, talking about this entanglement, but like, y'all weren't even together. Me personally, I've checked out mentally from the Smiths. I think that they need to stop putting their lives on display and like giving bits and pieces of real truths, because a lot of people call them swingers. A lot of people have been said
for
that
for years
that Will Smith, quote unquote, has a harem or would love to have a harem of women and still be in a relationship.
Allegedly, he also swings to the dingling side.
Swings to the left, swings to the right. So I don't know. And like, I don't know. That's crazy to me. When I saw that, I was like, really? Now you guys want to claim what you guys are? Like, there's no authenticity in that little circle talk, whatever, Red Table Talk. What did you think?
Well, I'm thinking the astrology signs right now, to be honest. She's a Virgo, he's a Libra.
Libras are full of shit. Sorry.
Ooh. Oh, no. Oh. Moving on. There's nothing much more to say. She has a book coming out. I don't know. Listen, part of me.
I'm not reading that shit. I am ready for Britney Spears' book to come out.
That's exactly. I'm like, when I heard the announcement, I was like,
pre-ordered.
Sort of intrigued, but I'm like, no, there'll be another book that I'll be trying to read and get through in a day.
I will read snippets on TikTok.
exactly. But the other day you sent me shows. If you want to pull that up, shows that
Yeah,
their opening rock. Like, so we've all had our favorite shows, whether it's
yeah,
growing up, whether it's as adults, young adults, and the opening song,
yeah.
whatever it may be, or even the opening song with the visuals behind, just like got us into it before the actual show started. Every show has some classic openings, and we wanted to discuss this. Um, we seen you sent a post actually
Do
the
you
other
want to
day
do
about
like a?
this.
I have 10, a list of 10. Do you want to do like a countdown, like from 1 to 10? Which one, like you would rate it? Which is, which you what you would rate it basically? So like, the first one I have is Pretty Little Liars. I know you're obsessed with that show, or you watched it. I never really got into it. Um, can we play a
That was
snippet?
that was we could play a little snippet. Here we go. What it sounds like.
Oh, that sounds
Oh,
horrible.
hold on.
I can do
Will
it.
I got it. So here we go. Got a lock it in the pocket. This one to the grave.
Okay, so
So
I
yes,
would give
that's
that
a
out of a
snippet.
10. I would probably give it, it's catchy, I guess. I would give it probably a 6.
But then you also are we just hearing? Are we just judging the songs? Are you just
Yeah.
judging the songs or the opening, like the visuals, everything?
No, no, we're just judging the songs.
Oh, the songs. Okay, okay, okay. I thought we were judging just the opening as a whole. With me, I'm gonna judge the openings because I also added some other ones, just like a few that was in this thing called songs that like
Let's not do the
basically
audio because it sounds crazy.
best intros. There was like Pretty Little Liars, Sex and the City, The Sopranos, and X Files. So, what about you? What are some that you have on your top 10 in your list?
It doesn't have to necessarily be a song, but like for me, Sex and the City is my number one. That's like in my number one show ever.
Mm-hmm.
I did like Gossip Girl, like the beginning. You know, you
It
love
was a
me,
quick beginning, but
XOXO.
yeah, that's a
That one
good
was
one.
a good
Yeah,
one.
XOXO, Gossip Girl.
This one is not on the list, but I just love it because me and my brother used to watch the show all the time, like after school. Scrubs, that was a good
Yeah,
one.
I didn't get into that.
I know Friends is not on the list. I don't care for Friends. I never watch Friends, but I know everyone
I'll
likes
be
that.
there for you. I can see people like really getting into it
The
before. Yeah,
Rembrandt, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Not
Yeah.
our type of show, but yeah, I can see why some people would love that.
Obviously, Fresh Prince of Bel Air was one.
Saved by the Bell. When you
Saved
wake
by the
up in the
Bell.
morning, and I have that on my list. You may not like it, but Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which was an instrumental thing, like dun, 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 dun. And every time like it would start, I will always rock out and always like yes.
I actually like
Charmed.
Charmed. Who?
Oh my god, that deserves like a.
That's funny.
Charmed. I am the sun.
That one was good.
Yeah.
I mean, this one is hella recent, but I really like Succession. That shit was instilled in my brain for months. What else? What else did I like? Some people, I'm reading through comments, and Dexter. Dexter was good.
Yeah, that did that's instrumental as well. But even in the beginning, the
Oh,
cutting of the eggs, the visuals and everything,
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, that's a
A
good
lot of
one. I like
people
that.
commented and really like Sopranos. So, I
Never
mean,
got into that show, but it was
I
a
hate
big
to say
show.
this, but I've never really watched Sopranos. I watched one
Me either.
episode and I was like, I'm bored. So maybe one of these days
Never got
I'll
into it.
watch it. But the OC, remember the
Oh, okay. Never
OC?
got into that one, but with Mr. Barton and stuff on Fox.
Yeah.
But oh, another one that I put Beverly Hills 90210. Dan it, dan it, dan it.
Oh
If
yeah.
you're a Beverly Hills fan, you know that just little part. Melrose Place, or the original Melrose
We're
Place.
forgetting like New York royalty, the nanny.
Oh yeah.
That one was good
Yes,
too.
the night is good. The Golden Girls. That's
The
a
Gold-
classic song.
That's
I
our song.
mean,
Bitch, that is
yeah.
our karaoke song.
Hello. The Golden Girls had a great opening. I almost put the Cosby Show, but the Cosby Show changed like its musical instrumentals and stuff and openings
Yeah.
throughout the year. So I didn't know if to really list that, but yeah.
The last one that I had that used to creep me out, but I still liked it. Goosebumps.
Yes. And speaking of, I'm looking forward to this Friday's reboot thing that's coming out. Oh my god, that's a good one. Yes, 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 yes. And and you know, the opening credits. I hope you remember this. There's a part on the billboard. As a kid, I always used to think that person that like faces like thing, but then turns weird, looked like Michael Jackson. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
That's yeah. I used to say that's Michael Jackson. That is
Me
crazy.
too. Oh my god, that's so crazy. I love how we're talking about these things. Goosebumps was definitely one, and I'm excited for the Goosebumps reboot on Hulu. Hulu, holla at us, sponsorship. Um, but yeah, that's funny. Oh my god, I'm so happy you had Goosebumps in there because that is a good one.
We need
And
to
I'm
do
sure there's
this,
so
but
many
like,
more. We got to do this more because
but
there's
we
so
have
many
to
more
do a
classics.
novela edition. That would be fucking great.
Oh my god, no, oh. Mm-mm.
Anything with Talia.
You know it. And
We'll keep.
speaking of
We'll do that
novelas,
for the next one. Para la próxima.
speaking of novelas, it's as you guys know, it's Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th. And last week we spoke about, we got into it a little bit about Hispanic Heritage Month. And this week we wanted to continue the fun, the trend, but make it fun. Because listen, all of us Hispanics, we all come from different places. We all have different dialect. We also speak different wordings, et cetera, from Ecuadorians to Peruvians to Puerto Ricans to Mexicans, Argentinians, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, your two hosts right here of the Inner Circle podcast are Puerto Rican and Dominican. So we thought it would be fun to bring words slash slang words that our people use and let you guys know what it means. Because sometimes we use the same slang word or words, but are not necessarily the same meaning in our culture or our people speaking language. So Melody has a list and I have a list and we're calling this Que Lo Que Es. What is it? So here we go. Melody, start off with your first. I have 7 words here to school you guys in. You could start off with a word that de los tuyos use.
I mean, okay. I did a different transition of like the game. I did like Dominican word versus a Puerto like how a Puerto
What
Rican
Puerto
would
Rican
say it.
said?
So for example, sticky rice. We Dominicans say con. What do
Mm-hmm.
you guys call it?
Pegado.
Pegao. Exactly.
Yes.
The little lemons that you suck on, we say Dominicans say limoncillo. What do you guys call it?
Quenepas.
Exactly. Um, Dominicans say cuarto for money. What do you guys say? Dame
Dinero.
chavo.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
enough. It's on my list. Which chavo means money, but Mexicans, they chavo means a young boy.
Oh, really?
A chavo del ocho.
Wow. Mind blown.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
You see what I'm talking about? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. But continue with your list. I just
That's
had to
actually
throw.
a good costume.
I have chavo on my list, so I'm like, let me just put it in now. But go ahead. What are some other ones?
Another word is for earrings. Dominicans say aretes, and you guys say
Pantallas.
pantallas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you are broke, Dominicans say "tamo en olla," and you guys say "tan pelao."
Triple out. Yeah.
Yeah, yo estoy pelao. And then the last one that I have is when something is like dope, like you like it. We say está final or eso de todo, and you guys say está cabrón,
Chévere.
bien
Oh,
cabrón.
está cabrón. Oh, chévere. Que chévere.
Chévere, I feel like it's
cabrón.
more. I've heard more Venezuelans say chévere than any other like country, but
So
Dominicans say it.
here's my list of slangs that Puerto Ricans use and what it means. Pana, which means like friend or homie. Mira, mi pana. Esta mi pana. Another one is caripelado. Tú eres un caripelado. Tú eres una caripelada. Which means fresh, like no shame, a fresh person.
Relambio.
Yeah,
That's what it
they said.
relambio.
Yup, there you go. Another word that I have, corillo, which means like group of friends, like este es mi corillo.
We say coro. I think it's
Number we spoke about chavo, bochinche, que bochinchera, que bochinchero, que el bochinche, which means gossip. Another one is chota. Ese fucking chota, tattletale, like a guy, you know, someone who's running people's business, chota. And the last one I have is que nítido está esa camisa, mami, which is like how clean, nice, good. Nítido means which is like, oh, that's a clean shirt, that's a nice shirt, that's a good shirt, type of thing. So
I think I heard nítido and like rebelde.
One of them must have been Puerto Rican or Puerto Rican writer. Because that's very Puerto Rican, nítido.
Yeah. That was cool.
But that was fun. Now we're gonna end the show. We again tune in. We have the after show where I have a special announcement exclusively only on YouTube right after the show. But before we end the show, we introduced this new segment a few weeks ago called The Year Is. And today we have a special edition of The Year Is. So Melanie, take it away and explain.
So this time, for this week, we're gonna do The Year Is your favorite song from the year you were born. So Charlie was born in 86. I was born in 89. So I'm going to choose, you can choose one or two songs that came out the year you were born.
But yeah.
I'm torn between two. For me, in 1989, Lenny Kravitz came out with Let Love Rule. I saw him perform that live, loved it. And then obviously Queen Mother, Madonna, came out with Like a Prayer. That was controversial as fuck. Remember her Pepsi commercial? It got banned.
Well, the Pepsi commercial and the video was very controversial.
Yeah,
so back then in '89, a Black Jesus, crosses burning, etc. Like, listen, I grew as a kid. I would watch like the documentaries and news sections and all that, talking about how controversial that was, and I'm like I will always know how controversial.
I love that song though. That song is amazing.
Me too. And the video. And maybe more because from a young kid, I seen how all this controversy like got people riled up. For me, the year is 1986. And my top song from that year that I was born that I love, there was a lot of songs that came out. I was surprised to find out that Aerosmith and Run DMC's Walk This Way came out that year because I like this song. It's an iconic song. Plus, hello, I was reintroduced to it when Britney Spears, NSYNC, Aerosmith, Mary J. Blige, Nelly, all performed it at the 2001 Super Bowl. Yeah, people remember Britney Spears performed the Super Bowl years ago. But my favorite song of that year, the year that I was brought into this lovely world, was our queen that we're gonna go see in January, Madonna, Papa Don't Preach. And it's no lie because throughout the year, like I was born that year, but it's funny how as a 5, 6, 7, 8, and even adolescent years, still seeing that video being played on VH1 or MTV or talked about, I still resonated with that song. Especially in my adolescent years when I was teenage years, rebelling and stuff. Like I use that song towards my parents. Like so that to me
like
is a big song.
Papa that song wasn't it like the Teen Mom anthem?
Papa Don't Preach.
Yeah, but I made up my mind.
I never got into that show. Funny though, my
mom.
No,
I'm not talking about the show. I'm saying like That was like the song for like teen mothers, like that basically got
Oh, I thought you
pregnant.
meant Teen Mom. I'm like, I never watched that
No,
fucking
not the
show.
show. Ew, I
No,
didn't
no,
watch that shit
oh.
either.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I
My
would
mom was
assume,
one
like,
of them. I mean, my mom could have related to that song. Clearly, that year, the year before, when she got pregnant, because
yeah.
she was a young mom. I
Oh
mean,
my
there's no
god.
shame. My
No, but
mom had me at
that was a good
14.
song. This
Yeah.
Madonna came out. Say what you will about her, like not being so musically inclined, like Mariah Carey's and like Whitney Houston's, but
Meaning voice,
voice
not
wise,
being voice wise, but she's great with
yeah,
music.
voice, like she's not like musically inclined. I'm sorry, but lyrically, whatever. I don't know. I know she had a team of people like writing songs with her, and she would chime in and put her little oohs and ahs. But she came out with some bangers, and that like to this day, like the meanings are up there.
And they're still relevant to today.
Yeah.
But that was fun. Today was a fun show. I love that fun show. But next week we come back next week with you guys with a special guest, Ruby Shinon. She's an artist, she's a singer, and I'm excited to have her on and our circle friends get to know her. She'll be joining us next week as our special guest. If follow us, this episode will be streaming the very next day wherever you stream your favorite places, whether it's Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, iHeart. Subscribe, like, it goes a long way, and it's free, and it really does go a long way. And tune in right after the show. We have an after show tonight, quick after show with a very, 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 very special announcement that means the world to me. I'm a little nervous because once you put yourself out there, there's no going back, but we're doing it. So
He's
tune into the
pregnant.
after show.
Just kidding.
Tune in. We will see you guys next week with special guest Ruby Shinon. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching, for catching up and following us. See you guys next week. Adios.